Hi, I'm Shade Ferre with TaxSaleSupport.com. I'm here with Stephen Swenson, and this is one of our Property Deal of the Week videos where we look at different tax sale property deals, whether they be good or whether they be bad. They're properties that are worth pointing out and looking at different aspects of. So we're going to be looking at some properties today that sold in some recent New York sales.
Yeah, we like to get an idea of what the market looks like and review all of the different auctions to get an idea of where properties are selling and like to point out deals that may or like Shade said, and sometimes they're going to be really good deals. Sometimes it may be a little bit more questionable deals. With this property, we can see that they picked it up for 27,000. In it being a three-bedroom, one bath home with it looks like a small garage as well.
Yeah, it looks like it was built in 1951, so it's an older home. Although, for tax sales, that's not too old. Sometimes we see properties that are much older than this, but certainly an older property. Now, other things that we can see here about it, it looks like it's maybe still being lived in. It looks like it's still being used, and like that it's in usable condition. So that's all pretty interesting here with it. And we can see the value there they list at 54,000 is again not very high, but if we look at the market's going to be quite a bit higher on it, more like 112,000. So that does leave quite a bit of profitability. It means really they bought this at a pretty good low percentage of value.
Yeah, well, one thing I found as well within this area is just the rent estimates were pretty high. And so for this being a three-bedroom, with the 1.5 bath, that put it almost, up to almost close to 2 grand. Now, even if it's only 1,700, but from all I could see, it was a pretty high rental within there. So when we're looking at a property, this one, we can see that it needs some things. I think it's probably going to need a new roof. We'll have to see what kind of condition the inside needs to be done. But it's a high rental market within this area, and it's got enough value in there where it could have been a good deal, especially depending on how much the rehab's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, they paid such a low price for it that they've got some room to be able to rehab it. And Steve's right about the rental estimate. I mean, that is for a property that's valued at 112,000. To have a rent estimate of $2,000 a month. That's an excellent market. Because you're going to get more money out of your dollar, in a market like this where $100,000 gets you a $2,000 a month rent income. That's hard to do.
Yeah, well, in traditional real estate, if we were looking at that property and let's say they have to put another 30 or 40 into it, uh, you know, um, even within that, you're still only buying this property or into it, nearly half of its value. But the real value of this property is that potential rental income of having a higher rental property. And there's things about the property you can see that need work as far as the roof, but overall, there's things to like about it as well, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're paying, less than $30,000 for it, and you're picking it up for 27,000 or whatever this price here was, a very low price point, and which makes it very attractive. I mean, for it having the ability to make that kind of rental income, yeah, this thing is basically just a cash machine. You know, it has that ability to bring in such a good amount every single year. Compared to, I mean, its value. I mean, essentially, it can bring in 24,000 a year, and so the same amount you paid for it has the ability to bring in roughly in rental income. That's pretty impressive for a home.
Well, and that's something we're going to look in every area that we're going to be buying homes. In fact, we have some of our advanced training students that will actually take with us and go out to some of the auctions. And so when we're evaluating a property like this, we're going to do an on-site evaluation, and then we're going to get into a high-level market analysis so that we determine exactly how much the property is going to be valued, after we've repaired, before we repaired, and then also that rental income as well, because we have a lot of students that are looking to gain rentals. There's definitely always going to be a need for rentals. It's something that's not going away. There's only more need for rentals, and even doing deals like seller finance and things like that. There's more need now than I think there's ever been.
Yeah, and I think that's only going to increase and compound. It's only going to get greater. So there are a lot of things about this deal to really like. Everything from the price that they paid being very low, to it having such a tremendous. I mean, the market value isn't necessarily listed that high, but that rental estimate is very high. The rent estimate's as high as there's plenty of markets you go to that where even a $250,000 home may not be bringing in $2,000 a month in monthly rent. So for that low of value to bring in that kind of money is excellent, and it's a good size for a rental market. Everything about this just screams great rental.
Yeah, well, and the size is something we like as well. It's 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. We'd have to see it, maybe 2 bath. If not, we may look about adding a shower or a tub to that as well. But that's a perfect size for rentals. That's a perfect size for flips. And it's also not going to be a huge undertaking, because I can't remember what it was, 1,200 1,400 square feet, something like that. So it's not a massive property in undertaking something as far as is the rehab, versus buying something that's twice that size and maybe even older, that we see come up for auction as well. Maybe it's a 1910 or 1920 and it's 2,500 square feet. Well, that's a lot more of a challenge than something like this that we can see. That even with issues like the roof, there's a lot of positives of the property. With the price that they picked it up, I think it'll probably be a pretty good deal for them.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only cons on this are like, well, we don't really know what's going to be what the story inside is going to be and what it's going to need. But you've bought it at a low enough price that that you can afford to invest some money into it to get it fixed up and and to get that full value out of it, or to get it rentable. And so really, even those things, I mean, you'll kind of go into it knowing that it's going to need some work, and with as low as you paid, you can afford to get that work done and to still be sitting in a very good position with it, and you can start making money on it very quickly.
Yeah, I think the biggest expense for them is going to be that roof. I don't, it may, I don't, it may not be leaking yet, but it'll need to be replaced. And so if we were buying this property, that's definitely something that we would look into and evaluate, what kind of roof we could put on it, and what would be those costs in going into it. And I'm sure with that, there's still going to be, a pretty good profit margin, but that'll probably be the biggest expense on it, especially if it's being rented or lived in now. It could still be livable within the inside.
Yeah, but just, that is one of the things that we're always kind of looking for, and we're trying to determine, even like when we try to get current images of the properties, to figure out if it's being lived in, if it's currently usable. If it's not, then we tend to the condition can usually, I would say, when it's not, if it's not occupied, condition tends to go down pretty quickly. So it's always a good sign to see that it's occupied. That's a good thing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just we're going to be producing more of these videos here with more properties to check out. So be sure to keep an eye out for the next one that's coming out.
Yep. Thanks again, everyone.